Hi guys, this is part 2 on the difference on the three grinds available for bushcraft. Okay, please watch part 1 if you have jumped straight onto this one. I have labelled them part 1 and part 2, so just click on part 1 if you haven't got a clue what I'm talking about. So yeah, part 1 we discussed the difference between a Scandi grind, a full flat grind and semi-convex, which is supposed to have been a convex, but I grabbed the wrong knife, but this is as close as I've got today for a convex. So we went on sliceability. We established, because of that grind, that the Scandi grind was a better kind of notcher, whereas my stick was a better at notching and removing the materials out of the wood than the other two. Second place went to the Condor Hudson Bay, again because of the grind, and obviously last place, third, 3 out of 3, was this, again because of the shallow grind of this flat grind. All three still did the job, but obviously this one did it better. So I think this is ash, so this is hardwood, and we'll see how well we can get some fine curls off it. Okay, so again, look and just get a feel of the knife. Don't usually do feather sticks either standing up or just like this. Okay, so I'm going to just first plane this area here, make it straight until I find the sweet spot of the knife. Once you find the sweet spot, you try and keep it at the same angle. Like I say, ash or oak, it's never going to be very good at feather sticking because they tend to be a little bit too grainy, in my opinion. Very grainy woods. But it's doing it. And that's why I chose this kind of wood, either ash or oak, because it is very difficult to do feather sticks with this kind of hardwood. So it makes it harder for the knife, so the knife really has to work harder and have a, and so this really tests the edge of the knife. Okay, so found the biting point now with the Scandi. Now, like a lot of hardwoods, like with ash and oak, is once you get past that layers, it starts to get a little bit easier as you get in towards the middle of it, especially when you've started planing the edge to make it a soft edge, sorry, a flat edge. Okay, so yeah, okay, so not too shabby. Like, I'm only doing it this way so I can show you. And normally I rest the stick and I'll do it that way, so I've got more control. I've got less control when it's floating in mid-air, but again, it's part of the test to see how sharp and how well these different grinds do it. So not too shabby. So that's the Scandi. So move on to number 2, the flat grinds, the Ontario Hickory. So same stick, we'll do a different area. So the other end of the stick. Now, because of the shallow grind on this, and of course it's sharper, I'm finding it easier to do the feather sticks than I did the Scandi. Okay, I think if this was green wood or a softer wood, this will probably excel the Scandi with its slicing ability. So once you get the right angle, and just try and carve rather than try and fight with the blade, try and go with the blade. That's why I always recommend you switching blades. Okay, get used to your go-to knife first, but always switch out so that you get used to using different grinds for different purposes. But I don't know. And there we go. So, flat grind, Scandi. What do you think? These are finer curls, I think, just slightly finer. Okay. So not a lot of difference, but I did find you get finer curls with a flat grind than you do with Scandi. Okay, so got another piece of wood somewhere. That is similar. Yep, that's the one. Okay, so same style of wood, obviously a different stick. Obviously, I'm going to try it with the Condor Hudson Bay. Yeah, I'm going to go that way, I think. So let's have a look. So this is semi-convex. Again, if you're just tuning in, see part 1. And again, it makes sense to use different grinds, like you know its capabilities. Okay, so this is the same kind of wood, came off the same stem, the same stick, on the same tree. Okay, I'm not too sure, but I think that might be a knot in that one. I'll do it on the side. It is easier to do it on the side, but I didn't really want to do it on the side. But this, it is struggling a bit. It's not as good as the Scandi grind that I've got. Once you get it going, it's not too bad, but you have to get it going. Find the right grind. Maybe go a little bit higher, just slightly higher. Yeah, it's really struggling. Again, this is not the perfect wood to be doing this. Okay. Yeah. So nothing there. Maybe it's down to the wood. I'm not too sure. It does seem to be a little bit knotty. So what I'm going to do is take that off. And then we'll have a look at the same piece of wood. I did the Ontario one, but again, you can see it's struggling. It doesn't bite into the wood as much as the other two. It's really struggling. So that's what I get with the Condor. Okay. Yeah, no competition really. Again, because of that thicker, like semi-convex grind. I know this is a bigger knife, but for fine shavings, obviously this particular knife and this particular grind, no, I put that in last place if I'm going to be doing carving tasks like that. That grind definitely needs to come up a little bit more, because it's only a shallow semi-convex. So I think if that was high, much higher, it'd perform a lot better. So it's probably down to the knife, but for fine carving work, delicate work, then these two, yeah, it would beat that hands down. So my final thoughts is, it all depends on what knife you're going to be using a task for, and it's quite hard because you know, as a main bushcraft knife, you want to just carry one knife in the field if possible. You know, you can't really be carrying a Scandinavian grind and a flat grind and a convex grind and a semi-convex grind, and you know, you're going to be there. You can have a bag full of like 100 different knives, you know. So for performance wise, if you've never handled a knife before and you've never sharpened a knife before, then a Scandi grind is the way to go. Again, I'll do more videos on different budget knives when you're first starting off, so there will probably be a lot of Scandi grinds in that, because that's what I recommend as a first knife. Okay, when you've never done it before, you're a total novice to bushcrafting using knives. So because of the general all-round capabilities of a Scandi, then I would highly recommend a Scandi grind as your first knife, so to speak, until you learn about the steel, the grinds, and how to sharpen it. Okay, so you're seeing different capabilities of different grinds of the knife, and you know, overall, yeah, this, you know, I'd choose this over the other two for this kind of test. Definitely fine carving, fine shavings, notching, you know, from out of 3, because of the pretty good all-round capabilities, I'd definitely choose this. Obviously second place goes to the Ontario, and third place goes to the semi-convex, although this is a lot bigger, heavier knife. I'm not going to do any chopping today because I have got things to do, but I will go into depth about different grinds in more videos. Now, Scandi grinds and batoning and chopping, again, there's a common misconception that you can't chop and can't baton with these. You can, you definitely can. After researching Scandi grinds and things, that's what basically it was designed for, as well as slicing, because of the edge geometry and the meat behind the edge where it meets the shoulder up here. Okay, you can chop quite hard with a Scandi, and in my opinion, it's all down to the workmanship of the blade, how it's tempered, how it's heat treated, how good the steel is. You know, if you've got a Scandi grind that is really cheap tacky steel, then yes, as soon as you start chopping with it, then yes, you probably will start chipping and cracking and things like that. But as long as the steel is really good quality, as well as the really good Scandi knives, then yeah, of course you can chop with it. And that goes with batoning as well, because of that wedge shape of the Scandi. Yes, you can baton with it, because it is a wedge, and it starts off like a 0 grind, and as you progress further, it forms like a wedge, a bit like a convex. Okay, so what happens is, when you smash on the edge, the spine of the blade into the wood, okay, so the deeper this goes, the more the wood starts to split, because of that quite thick shoulder there of the Scandi grind. And that's how it's designed. This is how this is why they made it. I'm not saying it's the best for batoning, I'm not saying it's the best chopper, because it's not. Okay, it definitely not. You know, that's, you know, get that clear. But for a high Scandi grind like this, it's a good all-rounder of everything, but again, master of none. Just quickly go over the other two. Flat grind, pretty much useless for batoning with, because if you look at this compared to the Scandinavian grind, you've not got any kind of wedge at all to split the wood with. Okay, it is just one thin blade with a really tiny, I think it's 15, maybe 20 degree angle, but look how shallow that is. So if you got into the wood, you batoning through the wood like so, and you're smashing on the spine of the blade, this is not going to split the wood as easy. So yes, you can baton with a knife like this, but don't expect miracles. I'd stick to wood, probably wood that's probably this kind of size and thickness. That's probably just well, smaller than your wrist if you can, but no larger than your wrist. And I certainly wouldn't baton hardwood with it. But yeah, that's my opinion on that anyway. Okay, so we'll go to the last one. Obviously this is designed for it. Semi-convex, or let's pretend it is a full convex grind, which it's not, but obviously if you saw me part one, I grabbed the wrong knife, but this is as close as you can get to a convex. Okay, so this is only a small semi-convex grind, but you've got the same wedge shape, okay, which this hasn't got. Okay, so look at how thin that is compared to that. So when you baton through this for your piece of wood, okay, and you get past this thick bit here, okay, this is what splits the wood. Okay, so the thicker the edges up here, the better it's going to split your wood. Okay, this is no good for batoning because of how thin the profile is. For little sticks for kindling, yes. Batoning any thicker than your wrist, no, it just wouldn't work. And it just, if you're dealing with harder woods, you definitely struggle if it goes through the wood at all. So for batoning, high Scandi and convex, semi-convex, whatever, absolute perfect because of the thickness of the edge geometry compared to a thin one. Okay, and chopping as well. Okay, so chopping with the Scandi, some light chopping. This is how deep the wood is going to go into the wood. Okay, so where it is and hits the thickness of the shoulder there. So when you chop, try to do it. So when you chop, you can see how deep that will penetrate. Okay. Okay. You see how thick that penetrated. Okay. So let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this. Okay. Okay. So same force, and you can see how that penetrated. Okay. So it's I don't know if you can see that. So compared to the Scandi grind, which is there, and then you compare that with the flat grind, you know, big difference in penetration, again because of that profile. Okay, if there was something more up here to split the wood as you are chopping, then it would perform a lot better. But again, this is why a flat grind with a small bevel is not designed for chopping. Okay, designed for more delicate tasks. And then we come to the big boy, semi-convex. Okay, bearing in mind, yes, I know this is a lot heavier, this is a lot larger, but because I brought the wrong knife with me, I have to make do with what I've got. I don't know why I'm going to do this actually, because I'll just split that wood. Do it there. Okay. And yeah. I did that with so much force, it actually, okay, so that was the Condor, semi-convex, okay. Yes, it's got a weight advantage, but that grind is designed for chopping. It was born for it. A convex grind is born for chopping. It'll chop it all day long. most of your axes, hatchets and everything has got a convex grind, and it is designed for chopping. You know, if I took a full swing at that, you can see how deep that is. That would probably cut it in two if I had a chopping block. So yeah, so delicate carving, no, it's not really its forte kind of thing, but chopping, batoning, yeah, you will never ever beat a convex grind in the chopping or batoning department. Okay, I've used hundreds of knives over the years, and for chopping, heavy duty delimbing, heavy duty batoning, convex is king. End of. Delicate work, good all-rounder, delicate work, slicing, high Scandi grind is the way to go. Okay, so if you are doing mostly processing wood, then Scandinavian grind is the way to go, especially ease of sharpening in the field. For most of the tasks that you're going to be maybe processing food, general camp duties, light camp duties and light maybe feather sticking and things, then the flat grind with secondary will do just as well as the Scandinavian grind, but it will struggle to do notches, as I explained in part 1 of this video. Again, because of that, how shallow that grind is, and you know, it is what it is. So you know, I get it all the time that what's the difference between this grind and that, and so I thought I might do a quick demo of all three grinds for you, what they're good for and you know what they're not good for. So what they excel at and what they don't excel at, basically the pros and cons of using each knife. And that's why most bushcraft knives out there tend to be Scandinavian grinds. A, because the ease of sharpening in the field. B, it's got that semi-wedge cut, so it's also good for batoning, especially if you've got high Scandi grinds like I have on here. Perfect for batoning. If you've got the right good kind of steel, which is what this is. Very, very good slicing as well. If you're cutting meat up or veggies and things like that, it's not the best knife to use, if I'm honest, but it will do it. So if you're for food prep and things like that, then you'd choose a flat grind over a Scandi grind any day for like food prep, skinning and things like that. And then your more heavy duty tasks, chopping tasks, wood splitting tasks, the convex grind or semi-convex grind, if you want a little bit of both, is king at that, and it always will be. In fact, when I had the Essie Hungless, which is a massive blade, I think that was a flat grind with a secondary bevel. This out-chopped the Hungless, the Essie Hungless, in the chopping department. Okay, maybe because of the grind on it, I don't know, and I think it was just about as thick as this as well, but because of that grind, this beat the Essie Hungless hands down at the chopping department, no problem whatsoever. The Essie Hungless did a very, very good job, but it definitely didn't do as good a job as this. Okay, and again, it's because of that grind. So yeah, I'm going to cut that off there. There might be a small short videos in between as I keep coming here, but I'm still making other videos on what knives to choose for my basic bushcraft tiers. So look out for that, guys, and I'll probably let you know when I upload the first video of the basic bushcraft series. Okay, so thanks for watching part 1 and 2 on the demonstration of different small bit demonstration on different grinds. So I'm going to cut it off there and get some dinner. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you in the next video.